The other day I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, man, I gotta make a new video. And then I thought, I've really been shitting on Nintendo a lot lately. So I thought, maybe I should release a video that's a little bit more hopeful. Focus a little bit more on the positive than on the negatives. And when you really sit and think about it, Nintendo's 2021, while not overly impressive, is absolutely fantastic for one big reason. And that is, we're getting a lot of franchises on the Switch that don't normally get a lot of love from Nintendo this year. I mean, case in point, we're getting a new 2D Metroid game, and on top of that, it's a new game in the series, not a remake, brand new, which we haven't had since Fusion. We got a brand new Pokemon Snap this year, a game that hasn't seen the light of day since the N64. WarioWare is coming to the Switch, and here's a real big one, Advance Wars is coming back. And to be completely honest with you, out of all the games Nintendo announced during their E3, a new Advance Wars, though granted it is a remake, but regardless, a new Advance Wars was probably the thing that blew my mind the most. I never expected to see a new game in the series, just because Advance Wars seems like it's like a lot of other games that Nintendo likes to forget about. There's a lot of franchises, and I mean a lot of franchises, that Nintendo just doesn't really bother with anymore. Advance Wars was right there on the list. The last game released in 2008, and that was only in the US and Europe. It wouldn't release in Japan until 2013, and it was a download-only title on the DS. But besides that, it's been well over a decade in the good old United States since we've seen a brand new game. So again, this was very impressive to me to see Nintendo releasing a new game at all. And seeing that, WarioWare, a new 2D Metroid, all that together, plus other games that have released this year, just really made me get hopeful that we could be seeing more franchises from Nintendo that they don't really bother with too much, and possibly start seeing new games for them. And trust me, there's a whole bunch of franchises that absolutely deserve new games in their respective series. Franchises like Custom Robo, Golden Sun, Kid Icarus, Pilot Wings, the Mother series, FZero, the list goes on. Yes, while it's nice that we got the aforementioned WarioWare, what would be really awesome is if we got Wario Land back. That would be fantastic. It's been over a decade since we had the last Wario Land game that was on the Wii, Wario Land Shake It. We haven't seen the series since. I absolutely loved Wario Land Shake It for its visuals. I love the animated style. It was friggin' awesome, and it's something that I would absolutely love to see make a comeback. Of course, when you're talking about bigger franchises on the list of franchises Nintendo doesn't really bother with, the Mother series and FZero are clear standouts. Yes, I know, everybody wants Mother 3 to get ported over to the United States, but it just seems relatively unlikely that we will ever get the original Mother 3. Obviously, there's emulators, you can play it that way, but I highly doubt Nintendo is going to give us an official release of that game. However, there's nothing stopping Nintendo from giving us a remake of Mother 3 and the other Mother titles. Imagine if they did a 2.5D remake of the Mother series and they did it in that claymation style, like you see a lot of the old artwork is for Earthbound and whatnot. That would be absolutely fantastic. I would love to see something like that. And that may be the only way we could possibly get Mother 3 released over to the United States, because if Nintendo remakes it, then they can do whatever they need to do to, take out the stuff that's controversial for the West and all that kind of crap, and give us the game that a lot of people have been wanting for years. And then there's FZero, and that poor bastard Captain Falcon, who's been relegated to pretty much a Smash Brothers character since the last game in his series came out in 2004. And that was only in Japan, by the way. FZero is plagued by the worst possible excuse to not get a new game from Nintendo, and that is, there's no good gimmick that we can attach to it. That's basically the excuse. But hopefully Nintendo will open their eyes and see that FZero doesn't need a gimmick. FZero is just good enough as it is. It sets itself apart from Mario Kart by the simple fact that it's faster and requires a lot more skill to play. Mario Kart is a frantic, fun game that you play with your friends to mess around, whereas FZero just feels like it's the type of racing game that is designed to be difficult and has a high skill level. The tracks are crazy with its loop-de-loops and crazy tubes, and honestly, it's a racing game that doesn't really have a lot of copycats. there aren't really any good FZero clones out there. I'm not saying that there aren't any at all, because there's definitely games that emulate FZero. But at the end of the day, a lot of these games that try to be FZero just don't feel like FZero. There's always something about them that just doesn't quite give you that same feeling. And this is really what makes FZero a unique racing game. And I just really hope that maybe, just maybe, this new Advance Wars game is kind of a little bit of a window into seeing where we could be headed with Nintendo and retouching these older franchises and giving us new games from them. Whether they're remakes of older ones or even a brand new game in the series, regardless, there's just so many of them that deserve something new. Especially when fans have been waiting patiently in many cases to see these games get something after all these years. Another thing that's cool to see is that WayForward is developing the new Advance Wars, and for those of you who may not be familiar, WayForward is the same developer that does the Shantae game. Now, I'm not an expert at the Shantae games, I've only played a few in the series, but the games that I have played are really fun. They're really good platformers, and they're a phenomenal example of a smaller studio that can put out really good games. And I've said this quite a few times, and not just in reference to Nintendo, but to other companies as well that have these older IPs that they don't really use or touch that much. There is a plethora of really good developers out there, indie studios, that make fantastic games. And Nintendo could and absolutely should reach out to these studios and allow them to use some of their IPs that they're not really using that much. Give these smaller developers a chance to help bring back an IP that you haven't used in a while and really just make something special out of it. Advance Wars Reboot Camp is exactly doing that exact thing. This is the kind of move that I was hoping I would see from Nintendo. This is what I wanted them to do with an older franchise. And it's not like we haven't seen Nintendo give franchises out to indie studios before. Cadence of Hyrule is a phenomenal example where they gave the Zelda IP to Brace Yourself Games and they crossed it over with their own Cadence series to make a really fun, awesome game that in my opinion is a must play if you're a Legend of Zelda fan, that's for sure. But I remember it surprised the hell out of me that Nintendo would give an IP like Zelda especially to an indie developer to do anything with it. And it was really cool. So there's absolutely a precedence for this, and hopefully we'll see more of this moving forward, and hopefully it will give us more revitalized games that we haven't seen in a really long time. But what old, forgotten, and dead Nintendo franchises are you hoping that you see make a comeback similar to Advance Wars? Why don't you let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a like, that really helps out the channel, and if you really like this video, feel free to subscribe. I put out gaming videos every couple of weeks or so. Whatever my schedule can allow. I'm busy, so unfortunately I can't release videos on the regular, but I'm definitely trying to put videos out as much as I can, and I do upload consistently. Of course, if you tap that little bell icon, then you'll get updated when I actually do release a video. If you love video games as much as I do, you like movies, tabletop games, anime, whatever, feel free to join my Discord chat. I'll have a link down in the description below. We're a relatively small Discord, but we're growing bigger every single day. There's a lot of great people in there. We have a lot of really fun conversations. If you want to meet new people, you want to have cool, fun combos about all that crazy shit, well then feel free to jump right on in. I'd love to have you in there. I try to stop in as much as possible, but I'm a lurker in my own Discord chat. What can I say? Finally, I always like to thank everybody who's subscribing, everybody who's watching. I just recently hit over 2,000 subs, and I literally cannot believe that. I never can believe it. Whether I'm getting 100 subs or 2,000 subs or whatever, every subscriber just shocks the hell out of me. It's really humbling and really awesome that there are so many people out there who want to watch or listen or whatever to my videos. I'm still in all of it. I still can't believe it, and I can't thank you guys enough, honestly. Your support means more than you could ever know, and I really am planning out ways to make my channel grow and do more with it, so I hope you'll stick with me, and I hope you'll be with me for the future and join me on this crazy YouTube ride. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, be safe out there, and bye-bye.